And welcome back, folks, to another edition of the Michigan Recruiting Insider Barbecue version. We had to get an episode in this week, even though there's so much going on. Michigan is obviously, they had their golf outing this week. We got Big Ten Media Days. We're in Indianapolis. We're preparing for the barbecue at the Big House, and we got our most extensive barbecue coverage in the history of the site. And we've covered barbecue. I mean, we've been covering it forever. But we decided, you know what? Let's go hard in the paint. Let's do it bigger and better than we've ever done it before. And so that's exactly what we're going to do. The whole crew is going to be around laying down the barbecue coverage like we never have before. And so we want to preview that for you today. And we're going to do that with the crew, kind of laying out for you some of the big names and some of the big storylines heading into another barbecue at the Big House here in Ann Arbor. Joining me to do that, like they do every single week when it comes to breaking down Michigan recruiting, it's the best crew in the land from the Michigan Insider, starting with Mr. Steve Lorenz. Steve, how are you?
Good, guys. Yeah, it should be a pretty eventful weekend. For sure.
Yeah, it should be. It's going to be an exhausting weekend, that's for sure. For us, anyway. For us. But we're going to bring but that's what we're going to do for the people, right? Right, Brice? We're ready to lay it down for the people. How are you today?
Pretty good. Just put down the little girl. So we're doing a night podcast. So this is for the people. Like you said,
For the people. Yeah,
we're
man.
doing what we can.
Doing what we can. We said we got to get it a preview. So here we go. Even Boop is up, ready to go. So let's go. Let's get this preview in. So listen, in the last episode, we talked about a lot. A lot with Louisiana recruiting, Phillip Wright, Derek Meadows. So Phillip Wright, the Michigan commitment that LSU is chasing. Derek Meadows winds up committing to LSU. As Steve pointed out, he said he thought he was going to go to LSU. I was here in Notre Dame. It was a back and forth. Michigan came in, made him think. And listen, you got a lot of people chirping. Michigan came in really strong. And frankly, I think the reason they were strong I actually think I think the NIL was what made the difference. You want to be frank about it, Steve. I actually think it was NIL that put them in the game at the end. I don't know about you, but it speaks to where Michigan is NIL. As I had a great chat with Greg Dooley. If you missed it, Professor Greg Dooley, teaches a course on NIL at the University of Michigan. Breaks it down, talks to regents and legislators and administrators. Like, you talking about one of the most versed people in not just at Michigan, not just in the state, but in the country on NIL and NIL at Michigan. And it is very clear there is a difference in Michigan NIL before the national championship and after the national championship. And so I think that's why Michigan was in the game with Derek Meadows, but ultimately he goes to LSU. But that has nothing to do, Steve Lorenz. The Derek Meadows recruitment has nothing to do with Phillip Wright. And as we laid out last week, that LSU was going to keep coming for Phillip Wright. That, they didn't start recruiting Phillip Wright when things started going left with Derek Meadows. They started recruiting Phillip Wright when things went left with DeCorian Moore. That's why they jumped on Phillip Wright. And that's why they tried to get Phillip Wright to not commit to Michigan when he did. And that's why when after Phillip Wright went ahead and committed to Michigan anyway, they doubled down. And we told you that the recruitment really started at that point. And so here we are. Barbecue is this weekend, but LSU headed them off at the pass and said, why don't you stop by the Bayou first?
Yeah, I mean, we kind of anticipated this was going to be the case, correct? Maybe not this quickly necessarily. It's been, 2 weeks? But I guess if you're Michigan, it's better to get this information now, figure out where the kid's head is at. That way, at least it's not November, December, and you're left kind of like with no options on the table besides. So, yeah, not necessarily the biggest surprise, right? I mean, and we have touted Wright as a guy who is capable of playing at LSU, right? I mean, we know LSU recruits the receiver position really, really well. Definitely felt like they've been slow playing him a little bit. But again, it's LSU. He's from Louisiana. That's always going to be a problem. More than almost any home state school in the country, LSU for Louisiana kids is, or most of them, if LSU wants them, most of them end up going out to play there. So, yeah, good for Michigan, though, to get them up right afterwards. I mean, that's about a best case scenario there, too, though. They can maybe, stem any momentum that LSU is trying to build. So, yeah, all of a sudden, a committed guy is one of the most important visitors on campus this weekend. So, it makes it a little more interesting.
Yeah, Brice. That's to me the deal. Listen, we knew LSU was going to come hard. I'm actually not surprised that it hit. They worked hard to get him to slow down. Don't commit right now. He says no. They rocked with me. I'm gonna rock with them. But it was clear that he was going to listen. He was going to hear him out. They were going to keep recruiting him. I mean, it's Justin Jefferson school, like I keep making the point of. And so to me, this is the key because we knew they were going to throw the kitchen sink at him. Now, I think what they're going to try to do, Brice, is they're going to move heaven and earth to get him to not make that visit this weekend. They're going to be like, hey, you don't need to go to Michigan. You don't need to go up to the barbecue at the big house, right? Just stay in the bayou this whole weekend. Just hang out. Don't stress yourself. And so that to me is the challenge that is in front of his Michigan commitment right now. Is all right. You went to LSU. You knew they were going to recruit him. You knew he was going to listen. Can you get him out of this visit weekend and actually get him up to the barbecue as planned, as scheduled? He's at LSU right now. He's supposed to be in Ann Arbor Saturday. And that is the question. Will he actually be in Ann Arbor Saturday, Brice?
It's kind of shocking that we're kind of questioning a commit's going to come visit the school he's committed to. I mean, that's kind of where we're at. But like Steve said, you're working uphill kind of against a school like LSU for a kid right in his home state. And I know there was a lot of questions when I put out the visitor list of, is Phillip Wright actually going to make it? Because like you said, Sam, he's on campus right now at LSU, but he's scheduled to be at Michigan Saturday and Sunday. Now, if that happens, that's another story. But all Michigan can do at this point is just keep recruiting him, keep showing him that, hey, this girl, she might have liked you, but she didn't make a move. We are the ones that make a move. We're the ones that came at you early and first, They're the ones that been kind of slow playing you. And sometimes that can have an effect, and sometimes that doesn't. But I think the other thing, too, with this recruitment that's going to be very crucial in keeping him in the fold is making sure the family is still good with Michigan. Because I think there's still maybe some that might still be kind of like LSU. If LSU does become a real threat and a real player, I think there would be some in his circle that wouldn't mind him staying closer to home. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I think Michigan right now, that's also what they got to work on. It's not just Phillip, but it's entire circle.
Yeah, see, I get the vibe that some in this circle actually would actually rather him get farther away from home, but they want it to be his decision at the end of the day.
Right.
What does he want to do? If he wants to stay close to home, then he stay. But clearly he's committed to Michigan right now. This is a battle. Listen, LSU was never going to make this easy, and we said when he committed, brace yourselves. The recruiting is just starting. This is not going to be one of those commitments that's for the faint of heart. This is going to be tugged at, right? This is gonna be one that's gonna make you nervous.
You know what it reminds me of too? Raylan Wilson. The moment Michigan got that commitment, I think the three of us were like, brace yourselves, because this is same scenario. Kid down south, SEC territory.
I feel a little bit better about this one though.
I do too. Yeah. But you knew that the moment you got that commitment, you knew it was gonna be a fight.
Yeah. Okay, I'm with you on that.
Right.
Yeah, knew it was gonna be a fight. Just like we know this one is gonna be a fight. I think you got more. You got more that I think in your favor to help you hold on to this one, though. And so the challenge in front of them is he has to make it to this visit. Like if he doesn't make it on this visit, then that's damning. So now you'll see me say, if we come back on the next episode and Phillip Wright didn't make the barbecue, you're gonna hear me say, okay, that things aren't looking good. Things aren't looking good for his Michigan commitment if he doesn't make this visit. All right, so that is the test and the measure moving forward. Right now, all signs point to, everything I'm hearing says he's gonna make this visit. He and his I don't know if his whole family is making it up, but I know he and some of his family are making it up to this Michigan visit for the barbecue. So, if that goes according to plan, then I think that is a victory under the circumstances. So it's like, well, he visited another school. So how can it be a victory under the circumstance? If you take it at face value that LSU is going to have him on, they're going to recruit him, he's going to listen, right? It's going to be a fight. Well, under those circumstances, it's a win that he went there. They threw the kitchen sink at him. They try again. If they try to get him not commit, sure, they're trying to get him not to come on the visit. He committed anyway. If he comes on the visit anyway, then I think that's a positive sign. So we'll see. Now, moving on to some of the other guys that are going to be on campus. So Jaden Sanders, Steve, Brice and I talked about Jaden Sanders last week. Brice talked about how he's feeling pretty good. Not crystal ball good yet, Brice. Cornerback out of Texas, 4-star cornerback out of Texas, but some positive vibes there. And I'm curious how you feel about Jaden Sanders heading into this second visit of the summer for him to Michigan.
Big, right? Also a newly minted 4-star, by the way, and a member of the top 247. Guys that start to rise this late usually aren't done rising necessarily. So Sanders could be a guy to watch, similar to JoJo Edmond last year as a guy who committed, and then I think Edmond quietly became like the second highest signee in Michigan's class last cycle. So, yeah, no, Michigan fighting more localized schools, for him in Texas, but not the big dogs like Texas or Texas A&M. I think it's TCU, Baylor, some others that are still involved there. Yeah, this one to come back this quickly and to make it an official visit, I think bodes well for Michigan's eventual chances in this one. Probably the guy, maybe more than anybody, who, you might see is provided the visit goes well, you could see some crystal balls come in for Michigan in Michigan's direction, right? I think one right now would be premature, just because he's not back up there again yet. You got to see how it goes, but again, it's hard to imagine the visit won't go well. And Michigan really needs him. They want like a corner in this class badly. So he's got. There's a lot of reasons why a kid like him would be a good fit for Michigan, and that Michigan would be a good fit for him. So yeah, definitely one of the visitors to be watching close this weekend.
Yeah, he's make it a Texas weekend, right? Because Andrew Marsh is going to be back again. I mean, Brice. I mean, it's getting close to the young man's 10th visit to Michigan. I mean, there are guys who live in the state of Michigan who don't visit Michigan that many times. I mean, this dude is setting up residence in the state of Michigan, a top 100 player, a top 10. I think he's a number 9 receiver. I have to go and look and see where he is in the because the rankings are always moving. So I haven't checked them recently, but one of the top receivers in the country, already have a crystal ball in. Nothing has deterred me from that. At last check, he was talking about moving his decision date up to August on his dad's birthday. And so we will confirm that when we next chat with him. And we can go ahead and lay it out now. Andrew Marsh has already said the next time he's in town, he's going to be making it by the TMI studio. So you folks can look forward to Andrew Marsh being one of several weekend visitors making it by the TMI studio. But how are you feeling about Andrew Marsh, Brice?
I feel pretty good going in. I think the big thing there is just forging his relationship with the other commits. This is going to be a lot of the commits, 12 to 16 commits are going to be in town. So I think for him to connect with those guys, especially the quarterbacks. You got Carter Smith and his cycle. And then you got Brady Hart next cycle. Both QBs are going to be on campus. And I think for him, that's pivotal because he's going to see who's throwing the ball, kind of get to know them, kind of get a feel for how they are as people. And that's a big deal. So I really like where Michigan stands. I know a lot of big schools are still after them, Texas A&M, USC, a couple others. But I like going into this visit where the Wolverines stand.
Yeah. Looking really, really good with that one with Andrew Marsh. This will be the first impression on Jerome Miles, the 5-star receiver, who you come off of Derek Meadows, right? Suddenly you got a lot more time now to spend on a guy like Jerome Miles, who I guess a lot of schools have a lot more time to spend on Jerome Miles because his profile. I guess we should have expected that, though, right, Steve? 5-star guy as talented as him, you should expect that his recruitment was going to blow up even more, and that's exactly what's going on right now.
Yeah, it is. I think we talked a little bit before we got on. The timing of it is pretty funny, though, right? He's heading to Michigan this weekend, and Ohio State, Penn State, and who was the other one? LSU?
Yeah,
have all offered within the last, 48 hours. Just enough to get everyone all fretting on the message board about it, that this is all. But yeah, he's a 5-star receiver. I mean, we have him as the 5th-ranked receiver in the class. I believe higher than Meadows, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, you're talking about one of the best prospects in the class. And again, receiver, much like corner, Michigan needs a 6'2" type guy like Jerome Miles in this class, much like they needed, like why they went after Derek Meadows so hard, right? So. But yeah, this one will be interesting. I mean, he's a kid out of Utah, was committed to Ole Miss, and yeah, his recruitment seems to be going a little bit more nationally. So yeah, this one will be probably one of the more fascinating visits because I think we've talked about him a couple times, but yeah, this will be really the first idea we get of how much Michigan is really in this race, right? Because it's his first trip there. His recruitment's been kind of quiet since he decommitted from Ole Miss. I mean, yeah, there's schools offering and stuff, but there's not a ton of intel on where he might be leaning or what he's kind of thinking. So maybe the guy more than anyone we're looking to learn more about where things are at and where things kind of stand there. So yeah, but big time talent though.
Yeah, big time visitor by the TMI studio. Am I laying it out for you? Am I setting the stage? Am I setting the table for you people about how we are about to start putting it down for this barbecue? When we said we're going to do it bigger than we've done it before, we're going to do it bigger than we've done it before. We said let's pull out all the stops, and so there are a lot of top 26s that are going to be on campus. Brice and Steve and Brice, you gave him a snippet. You gave him like a barbecue appetizer last week, but there were many more. I think you gave him like 2 or 3, but there are many more top 26s that are going to be on campus, right?
I feel like half of the top 247 is going to be on campus for the 2026 cycle. It's pretty insane. They're going to have over 60 visitors in total up for Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And I think for Michigan, that was a smart play by them because, a lot of kids, if they had made it for normal years, it's just a one-day event, Sam, as you recall, having it 3 days and spreading that out allows other guys to come up that maybe are going to other places. So this is one of the perks of having a bigger recruiting staff, right? Mm-hmm. You have more resources, more ability to kind of expand an event that normally you would just do a one-day thing. Now you can do for 3 days. And I think you're seeing that with this visitor list. It's crazy impressive. Two of the guys that really stand out to me, Savion Hyder. He's a top 100 running back from Virginia. He's got over 30 offers. He's got the who's who. A guy that Tony Alford, running backs coach, had been on since Ohio State. He's carried over that relationship to Ann Arbor, and now he's going to get him and his family up to campus for the first time. I think that's a big visit. I think Michigan can make a huge move for him. And he's also been in contact with Brady Hart. So I think the two of them seeing each other on campus and getting to get to know each other, I think that's big as well. And he's not the only one. There's another top 100 running back And Javion Osborne from the state of Texas coming up. He's never been up. He told me he's coming up with his dad. Super excited. They want to see the facilities. Obviously, a big draw for them, as he told me, is the running game and what Michigan does offensively running the ball. That should be easy sell for Tony Alford and just Sharon Moore in general. So those two guys, and then I mean, there's probably close to 10 top 247 guys on the offensive line that are coming. So Grant Newsome, huge props to him. Prop to him because he's got a huge lineup coming.
Dude, the offensive line
crazy
weekend, Steve. I mean, that alone. Grant has killed it as far as visitors are concerned. He did some work putting this visit weekend together. It's not just offensive line, but the number of top guys Grant has coming in this weekend is impressive.
I counted 27 four-star prospects in the 26 class that are currently on the list to be on campus this weekend. And I think 4 or 5 of the guys who are listed as 3 stars are guys that we have as like top target types already. So you're talking 30-plus elite guys that Michigan's expecting to have. Yeah, up front, Tyler Merrill on Mechanicsville, Pennsylvania. That's one where I think Michigan actually they could lead, or they're very close if they don't. Zaden Krempen out of Texas is a guy, I think, an offensive tackle, kind of one of those. I think he is listed at 270, but just has that build of a guy that they could mold into an elite offensive tackle. Leo Delaney out of Providence Day School in Charlotte, where Jaden Davis and Channing Goodwin are from. He's one of the top 2 or 3 interior linemen in the cycle. So there's more, like you guys said. Gregory Patrick out of Portage will be back. MSU legacy, but one again. I think Michigan might actually be in pretty good shape right there still. So we might learn a little bit about their 26 offensive line board after this event, right? I mean, I anticipate that they'll be in pretty good shape with at least a couple of these guys. So, almost you could argue 30 plus legitimate targets for Michigan in the 26 class alone that'll be on campus, which from my memory, I guess it's got to be the most or the largest contingent for the barbecue that I can remember as far as like that many big names. I mean, they usually get guys up, but there's guys. I mean, we're not even talking about a kid like Joey O'Brien, wide receiver safety out of Pennsylvania, another top 100 kid that we've probably barely touched on, but is a big timer. Andre Clark, safety out of Virginia, another top 100. I mean, there's just so many guys that fans will probably get to learn more about and know more about coming out of this weekend. They're really huge opportunity to set a good foundation for that class.
Yeah, so fans are going to want to know, and a lot of times this is something that develops on the fly, but want to know going in, any guys, any rumblings, any rumors that guys are close to a decision? You guys hearing anything like that about any guys?
I would, Steve's been doing
Jack Janda, the tight end out of Detroit Catholic Central.
Right? I like Jack Janda.
Right? And Michigan loved, I mean, there was questions because, which also Salene's Lincoln Keys will be on campus as well. He does not hold an offer yet, but he's picked up Alabama, Georgia, A&M. Like, he's got a legit offer list. But, Michigan loves Janda, offered him after a workout during spring evaluations. Yeah. And he's immediately in a class where the 26 tight end board is loaded. It says a lot that they already put an offer out to one of the, because there's a few in-state guys at tight end that are really good this year. You want to kind of curious to see how Michigan handles it. Like I'm curious to see if Michigan does offer Lincoln Keys. They're still going to shoot their shot with 5-star Brock Harris. Mm-hmm. They love Matt Ludwig, the kid out of Montana. There's just a lot of guys they're still in on. Max Sutter will be on campus, top 100. Yeah. A different guy. But Jack Janda's probably the one. Maybe of all the, at least on the 26s, we'll see. But he's probably the first name that comes to mind for me is maybe one.
Yeah, I watched Jack Janda down at the you were there, Brice, down at the Under Armour camp down in Ohio, down in Canton. and he was really good, athletic, really good ball skills. He's a Reggie Wins kid too, right? And Reggie doesn't lie on guys. Like Reggie says, I got a guy. He's a guy. And he was talking about Jack Jander. He's like, that's one of my guys. He's gonna be a guy, Sam. He's gonna be a guy. And no sooner than he said that, I was like, he had a Michigan offer. It's like, man, Reg was right. He has another guy, right? So you can see he's scratching the surface. Like musculature, like you can see that he's been in the weight room. He's a really good athlete, but he has the frame to add a good 20 more pounds to it, and then keep those ball skills. Is going to help him with all the inline stuff. But he is a natural pass catcher, a really good athlete, and the dude likes to compete. And the other thing that you can really tell, Steve Kasula has really connected with the kid, and I think Steve Kasula has really connected with his family too. This is one that I think, I don't know that he's ready to make a decision. I haven't heard anything like that, but I do feel like Michigan's going to be tough to beat. I feel like that, Steve. I feel comfortable saying that at this juncture. So, we'll see.
I think he camped at Ohio State not long after Michigan offered, and I know from what I know at least that Michigan was very curious to see if Ohio State would end up offering. They did not, and to me that said that they probably should be in the driver's seat for this one until further notice. Right? Again, no idea if he's looking to decide anytime soon or not. And we'll see if he does add more. Maybe he adds more offers this summer, even into the fall. But yeah, no, I think once Ohio State didn't offer after his camp that he had there with them, I just felt even better than I already did about Michigan standing. So
yeah, I like him. That's one. That's why I'm glad you said Jack Jenner. It's like, yeah, that'd be a good one to pick up, right in that tight end range. So, we'll see. Maybe we'll have Jack Jander by the TMI studio. You think we have Jack Jander by the TMI studios, Brice? I mean,
we gotta check the list again. It's a long list, so
I mean,
we'll see. We'll see what we
can
do.
I feel like Oprah. We should have that guy and that guy. Everybody should come on by, right? We should do it like that. It's gonna be that kind of weekend. So we're gonna bring you the barbecue coverage, extensive barbecue coverage, the whole crew. We're also gonna have the Behind the Uniform series coming, so I can lay out the lineup this season of Behind the Uniform. Let me pull out the list so I can preview it for you. All the guys that are coming by the studio for their Behind the Uniform sessions we got Alex Orgy, Tyler Morris, Jaden Mangum, Rod Moore, Will Johnson, Colston Loveland, Mason Graham, Kenneth Grant, Giovanni Ohadi, and Zeke Berry, all coming inside the TMI studios for Behind the Uniform season 2. So we got a lot coming over on TMI. A lot coming for you, folks. So, but the barbecue is ambitious. So we're gonna see if we're still standing at the end. Even if we're not, you're gonna be happy. Trust me. You're gonna be happy with what we provide for you. So really looking forward to it. But we still got a lot of media day stuff to crank out. So we got a lot of that coming. I mean, I thought Donovan was really good. Sharon's suit. You see Sharon's suit? Sharon's suit was clean, man. Sharon's suit was clean. Man, Sharon, I'm impressed. Max Bredesen, it's really good. All the Michigan's crew represented really, really well down here at Big Ten Media Day. So we got a lot coming for you over on TMI. Be sure to check it out. If you are not a member, hell, you should just try it out just for what we're about to bring during the barbecue. And if you don't like it during the barbecue, something's wrong with you. Something's wrong with you because we're about to lay it down. We're about to lay it down, and we're going to keep laying it down because the Behind the Uniform series will take you all the way through fall camp. So a lot of good stuff coming with that as well. So, fellas, appreciate you taking time out of your late night to get this episode in the books. We had to get this barbecue preview down, folks. Be sure to stay with us. Be sure to join us over on the MichiganInsider.com. That's where it all goes down on the 24/7 Sports Network. We'll see you next time over on the Michigan Insider. Thanks for watching another episode of the Michigan Recruiting Insider.